do you deal with societal expectations? And when I say societal expectations, I'm talking about all the things that everyone else who is not you expects you to do. And society can mean people from church, it can mean people from the community that you grew up in, it can mean your extended family, it can mean your friends, your neighbors. Essentially, it means everyone who is not you, who feels entitled to contribute to your life, where you should live, where you should work, when you should get married, who you should get married to. How do you deal with everyone else trying to help you live your life based on their own experiences? That is what we are going to be talking about in today's video. In the previous video, we talked about dealing with parental expectations. Sometimes our parents feel the need to live their failed dreams through us. They couldn't be a doctor, they couldn't be a lawyer, they couldn't be an engineer, and now you have to do that. And at some point, the point where they end and where we start is conflated, because their love can somehow be twisted into control and they try to live their lives through us. How do you deal with that? I recorded a video and I shared some helpful tips and things to think about to help you navigate that relationship. And in today's video, we are continuing that conversation on expectations, only that we are moving from your parents' expectations of you and we're talking about society's expectations of you. Should they even have expectations to start with? Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Petronella Mnenja. I'm an author, I'm a consultant, I'm a speaker. My book, From Gokwe to Oxford, The Girl Who Dared to Dream, is available on Amazon. Please do get a copy. If you're in Harare, you can get a copy from Innov8. And I am so happy to let you know that my second book, Dear African Child, 100 Love Letters from Me to You, is now complete and will be available very, very soon. I can't wait. I'm going to do a whole video where I talk about the book in detail, but that is not the focus of our conversation today. Today, we are talking about societal expectations. How do you deal with people who feel the need to help you live your life? You know the people that I'm talking about. The ones that will walk up to you and be like, oh, Sister Petty, God has blessed you so much. So when are you getting married? I think brother so-and-so would be perfect for you. The car that you drive is nice, but this one suits you better. The neighborhood that you live in is okay, but this one suits you better. Oh, the subjects you're studying at school are good, but have you considered this? Those kinds of people who for some reason feel entitled to help you live your life, who for some reason feel entitled to tell you what to do. How do you deal with situations like that? Because one thing that I'm fully aware of is, if you don't develop the stamina and the tools to handle those expectations, chances of people misleading you are high. Chances of people getting you to live their lives and not a life that you want are high. So you need to learn how to stand on your own feet and learn how to productively and intentionally deal with those expectations. And in today's video, we're going to explore 3 things that help us do that. The first thing is set boundaries, politely but firm. Okay, set boundaries. And when I think the conversation of boundaries is a big one. You know, there are boundaries that you should put in relationships, there are boundaries that you should put within your family, there are boundaries that you should put at work. Essentially, we need boundaries to be able to live well with others so that we don't offend them unnecessarily and they don't offend us unnecessarily as well. And for us to be able to look out for things like that, we have some things called boundaries. And boundaries are essentially a protection around you of what you can and cannot tolerate. So when I'm talking about putting in place boundaries, I'm talking about letting people know that there are things they can talk about with you and there are things that they cannot. Personally, for me, I've put a boundary when it comes to my marriage. You don't ask me when I'm getting married. You don't ask me who is going to marry me. That is none of your business. So if you are not close enough to know the state of my relationship, if I have one, if you're not close enough to know my marriage plans, if I have them, then it's none of your business. So if people walk up to me and they try to strike up a conversation along those lines, I will politely say, you know what, I'm not comfortable talking about this. Can we talk about something else? So that way, I don't even have to indulge into those conversations. I don't even have to open up my mind to what they think I should do. I control my space, I control what I let into my mind, and I control that whole scenario. So if you are one person and people constantly feel the need to tell you what to do in school or with your job, put boundaries in place in those areas that people feel the need to pressure you the most. So if people are constantly trying to give you advice and to throw in the expectations for the job that you should do, or the degree that you should do, put boundaries around that. So a boundary could be something like someone walks up to you and says, oh, are you doing that degree? Why do you want to do it? Is it good for you? A boundary would be, I have made my choice, I have consulted with people that I look up to and advisors, and this is the best decision for me. Please, I'm not comfortable talking about this anymore. It's making me uncomfortable. That way people know that there are things they can say to you and things they cannot say to you. And if you are a person who is not comfortable with people touching you, there are people who laugh and try to touch you or pat your back or whatever. If you're not comfortable, put boundaries. So put boundaries in the areas that you're not comfortable talking to people about. Put boundaries along the areas that you don't want people to chip in and force their expectations on you. When you put those boundaries in place, you have done the first thing that helps you deal with societal expectations. Because if someone cannot come into and barge through that boundary to tell you what to do, essentially that would be disrespectful. I put a disclaimer when I said put boundaries politely but firm, because there is no need for you to be disrespectful about it. You can put a boundary and still have a smile on your face. There is no need, there is never an excuse to be mean and disrespectful because you're trying to put a boundary in place. So be polite, be kind, be tolerant, be all the things that we've talked about on this channel that help you become a better person. But above it all, put boundaries. Make it clear to people what they can say and what they cannot say. That way you protect yourself from unnecessary expectations and you only listen to people who you are actively seeking advice from. By the way, this is not me saying that all expectations are bad. Expectations from your mentors are good because they're holding you accountable to the person that you want to be. Expectations from your teachers are good. So there are people who can have expectations from you, and anyone else from that bracket has to be put out by a boundary. That way you don't give them the access to make you miserable or to ruin your day. Okay? The second thing is be sure of who you are, so much so that no one can give you an alternative identity. And this one is important because half the time we face the world unsure of who we are. And when we are not sure of who we are, the world can give us an identity and it will stick. So if you don't know who you are, what you stand for, what you will and what you won't do, what you will say and what you won't say, the places you will go and the places you will never go, if you don't have a convicted core, a grounded character, if you don't have things about you that are immutable, that are just you at the core, anything and anyone can shake you. So before you try to ward off people's expectations, be clear on your expectations for yourself. Be clear on who you are. My name is Petty Munenja. I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, I am this. I expect myself to read a book every day. I expect to read the Bible every day. I expect to write a page or a paragraph in contribution to the books that I'm writing. I expect to be productive. I do not curse. I do not speak in particular languages. There are things that I never do because I am so clear on who I am. You can't come in and faze me. When you come and you tell me other things, I can respectfully listen to you and not let it get to me because I am clear on who I am, and your opinion doesn't do anything to that. It's just that your opinion. So be clear on who you are. When you are clear on who you are, when you're clear on what you want, people will keep their opinions to themselves. Do you know, there are some people that are so organized that people won't even dare walking up to them and saying the nonsense stuff, like do this or do that. You can look at someone and realize that this person is put together. If I'm going to tell them anything, I'm simply being disrespectful. So be clear on who you are and what you stand for. Be clear on that person. And when you are clear on that person and you hold that person up to the world will respect that person and create a place for that person. So be clear on who you are. And because if you are not, people will give you an identity and it will stick. If you're not clear on what you want to do for a job or the person that you kind of want to marry or anything like that, people can give you alternatives. They can give you an alternative job. They can even make you marry someone. I have seen people marry people because someone recommended them. So if you are not certain on who you are and what you want, people will shove anything down your throat and you won't have the willpower to resist, because willpower comes from conviction and a grounded knowledge of who you are. Okay? And the third one is access. I do not know how many times I have recorded videos and I've talked about access. What will you give access to? Okay, access. What will you give access to? Don't be the kind of people that if you meet them on the bus, if you're traveling for 10 miles, the moment you get to your destination, you would have known about their cheating boyfriend, their disobedient child. There are people who do not have anything that is sacred about their lives. They tell everyone everything. And the thing about people is, if you constantly throw in your personal life in their faces, they will start thinking that they are entitled to giving you their opinions. They will start thinking that they share custody. So if you're constantly putting your life on social media or telling people everything and stuff like that, you open up people to think that they are entitled to give you their opinions and to throw their expectations of you. And to be fair, why not? If you're putting it on the public for everyone to see, if you're letting everyone know the problems in your relationships, if you are carrying your emotions and processing your emotions on social media, if you're living your life in front of everyone else to see, how then do you put up boundaries to say, don't talk about this if you're the one talking about it? It's one thing for someone to come up to you and to try and strike a conversation on a topic that you're not comfortable with, and you can put a boundary because you're not comfortable. It's another thing if you're the one who is just moving around, yapping, allowing everyone in. You don't have, everyone is your friend. You can't distinguish between colleagues and friends and acquaintances. Everyone is your friend. Everyone knows about your cheating husband. Everyone knows about your miserable jobs. Everyone knows how much you hate your mother-in-law. Everyone knows how you hate your teachers. Everyone knows everything about you. And by extension, because they feel like they know you, they feel like they are entitled to tell you how you should live your life, because remember, you made your life their business to begin with. So for that reason, manage who you give your access to. If you limit your circle of access, you will realize that the only people that offer you advice, the only people that give you expectations, are people that you want to be giving you expectations. Because we need people that hold us accountable. We need people that hold us accountable to what we are supposed to be doing. So if you are intentional in guarding that space and not giving everyone access, you protect yourself from unnecessary societal expectations. Okay? That's it from me today, guys. This is a big one, and if you have any thoughts, please do let me know in the comments. The 3 things that we talked about. The first one is set boundaries. Don't let anyone just come in and start talking to you about things that you're not comfortable with. Never go along in a conversation that you're not comfortable with because you're trying to be polite. Put up your boundaries politely but firmly. The second one is have an identity. Know who you are. If you know who you are, People can't tell you what to do. They can't tell you who to be because you already know. But if you don't know who you are, anyone can shove an identity down your throat. Anyone can give you an identity and it will stick. And the last one is manage access. The more people you give access to, the more people feel entitled to your life. The more you close your access and the more you let people that are only important to you have access, the more you are left with constructive conversations and advices and healthy expectations from people that hold you accountable. That's it from me today, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, the new book is coming soon. Do get a copy. If you haven't gotten a copy of the first one, now you have to go and get one.